So, hey guys, Chauzu here. So the anniversary is getting really close. It's like less than 6 days away or something. And we're going to be getting news very soon. So this is like the final opportunity to speculate a bit, talk about what could happen. And what I really want to do with this video, except for speculate, is to talk about the versus situation, because let's face it, it's pretty likely that we're getting one versus unit, even if many want to not accept that possibility. But one of the reasons people don't want it is because they don't feel versus units are valuable enough. I'll talk a bit about this before, where on the one hand they say that versus units are too valuable, we can't get a lot of them because it's basically 2 units, yada yada. But then on the other hand, they don't want it because they think versus specials suck. They want super types or swaps or something. So yeah, obviously those two don't really clash. So apparently versus units are both the most valuable units in the game and the least valuable, and that's obviously not the case. But yeah, first let's go through what we think will happen for the anniversary. I put Vivi as filler. It's like the anniversary legend last year. It was Nami, Robin, and Boa with like Wano themed, I guess. We don't know what will happen this year, if it's even wives or if we even get an anniversary legend. My guess from last video was Vivi, Rebecca, Shirahoshi, and Manchuri legends. So all 4 will be like a We3, Vivi, Rebecca, Manchuri, Shirahoshi legend. I think that will be a fun meme. Not saying it will happen, that's my fun prediction. But what we talk about here are the actual anniversary legends, the Super Sugo Fest legends, and it looks very likely that we will be getting new legends for Sanji, Zoro, King, Queen. This is what's happening in the anime. You probably saw the thumbnail to this video. It has one of the like high posters they made for the conclusion of Sanji and Queen, which will be going live a few hours after this video goes up. So Sanji versus Queen is like the moment in the anime before the anniversary. So I feel like a lot of stuff points towards that Sanji versus Queen. As for Zoro and King, since I made my last video, we did get a leak in the files that there are artwork added for like an Enma gauge. So this will point towards Zoro getting some kind of solo leg, maybe. What I want to say though is that Zoro getting some kind of special gauge does not rule out a versus legend or a duo legend or anything, because sure, in the past these kinds of gauges have been tied to like a captain action or something. But I want to ask an honest question to you guys. Do you think we will randomly, for the like first time in like 4 years, get a new legend with a captain action? I don't think so, right? So you'd expect him to have a super type or super class, right? And a gauge. But if you have a super type or super class, he might as well have a swap or a versus special, because all of those works by swiping down. So there's absolutely nothing with having a gauge that says it will be a single solo legend, except if you think that he will have a captain action. I hope you understand the logic there. I still think Zoro will be a solo legend, mainly because we have no example of anything unique for a legend such as that isn't a solo legend. So like if we get Zoro versus King and then just Zoro has a gauge, King has nothing special, like they could do it, but it will be pretty weird. So I think Zoro getting a solo legend makes sense. It also makes sense with King getting a solo legend, since it will be most likely King without a mask, pretty hype. King is way more hype than Queen. King can actually carry a legend. People will want to pull for King. But I discussed this before, like the odd one out in this package is the Queen. You can do solo legend Sanji, you can do solo legend Zoro, you can do solo legend King. But can you really do solo legend Queen? I don't think so. I don't think Queen can be carried like that. And we also have the past precedent of Like last year we had 3 Super Fest legends, 1 anniversary legend, and if all of those 4 gets Super Sugo legends, then maybe we don't get an anniversary legend, or we get a 5th legend, but 5th is a bit too much. So the way I see this is that the only thing that makes sense in my book is Sanji versus Queen. So there's 2 things to tackle here. First, is it disrespectful to Sanji that he gets a versus legend while Zoro gets a solo legend? And I don't think so. Like, functionally, it will still be a solo Sanji legend. Like, versus units are made relatively unique. Like, they will share some traits in their special and captain ability, but they will boost different classes. They will, in both captain and special, they will have some uniqueness in the versus special. And no matter how you twist and turn this, we do get back to that versus special, because people will say like, oh, Zoro, such a good captain, has a great super class, whatever he will have. Then we have Sanji, he just has a versus special, not even a great captain, just a sub, yada yada. You see where I'm going with this? Many will complain about that. But I will say that versus specials are not inherently bad. I will say though that every versus special we got so far has been pretty underwhelming, mainly because of the activation criteria. Like, to activate them, you need to collect certain orbs and consume them. And that's not something people want to do. We're pretty much busy work. And you have to build a team to get those orbs. It's just a bit too much. Like, maybe if they really lower the requirement for how much orbs you need, but then it's a bit of why even bother in the first place to have such a condition. What they can easily do is just change the activation criteria. It can be like, if the crew has used 5 specials, like every special used fills up the gauge, you use 5 special, you can use the versus special. Or it can be like, you have to get below this HP. Like, there's so many ways you can fill up that gauge that isn't related to consuming specific orbs. And I think just making the activation criteria more realistic in more different content will make versus specials better. And versus specials have other benefits as well. Like, it can be used despite you have a special limit, like either apply from the enemy or from versus Kaido, stuff like that. I'm pretty sure it also ignores like enemy interrupts. And even if the enemy interrupts and wants to remove it, they can't remove versus special. Nothing removes versus specials. So versus specials are not inherently bad. Versus specials can also be pretty strong. And if you have a versus special that is pretty realistic to fill up, and it has a pretty good effect, then suddenly you have access to basically a super type / super class special even as a sub. Because super type specials can't be used as a sub, you have to be captain. If you have this Zoro, for example, I have from last anniversary, this Zoro is a pretty meh captain. He has a super class, you never use him as captain, thus the super class turns out to be pretty useless. This Zoro will prefer to be a versus legend, since then he will have access to some extra special you could maybe use if you fulfill the criteria, rather than a super class special you never use. So versus special is not worthless at all. But yeah, to summarize, I don't feel like Sanji getting in versus and not Zoro will be disrespectful or anything. Sanji will just be carrying Queen. That's just how it is. And like, Sanji will still be a solo legend. He just wouldn't have a super type or super class. He could have a very good versus special if Bandai wanted to. If he gets a bad versus special, it's because Bandai hasn't figured out that, oh, versus specials are not good enough yet. We have to make them better. And I really hope they do that. They did mess up a bit with the last ones, so this is time to do it right. And if no versus legend happens, and we still get all of these 4 legends, then Bandai really need to question, why do we have versus legends when the most hype thing in the anime right now is literal versus 1 versus 1, the hype for the like anime episodes have 1 versus 1, it even has the word versus written on it. Like, it's not rocket science. Like, if we don't get a versus unit, then there's something wrong with how they're like thinking about new units and such. Anyway, that's it from me. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.